Yeah, this ain't about gossip. This ain't about noise. This about ownership, clarity, strategy, power. Mind your business. Level up, no limits. Stop grinding in it. Start building a vision. CEO mindset. Boss moves relentless. Cut the confusion. It's time to get intentional.
Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining me for today's episode of Gurll Mind Your Business. I'm your host, Cookie Cade. And today we have a guest, an entrepreneur, grant professional, president and CEO of Tuscaloosa Area Black Chamber of Commerce. She also has a consulting done right company where she helped nonprofits and community-based organizations strengthen their capacity. I'm going to bring none other to the stage than Patricia Cade so she can just give us a little bit about what she has going on.
Hello,
Hello.
everybody.
How
Hi, Cookie.
I'm saying thank you for agreeing to be a guest on my show. And I just want you to give the audience a little bit about what you got going on, and we'll start from there.
All right. Well, I'm very excited about this, the Tuscaloosa Area Black Chamber of Commerce Business and Leadership Conference that we have coming up on August the 29th in the Wynn Center at Stillman College from 9 to 3 p.m. And so this conference is more or less a culmination of the different pillars that we've adopted through the chamber to help our businesses grow.
Okay. All right. So you have a lot going on just like I do, but you wear two big hats, as president and CEO of the Tuscaloosa Area Black Chamber of Commerce and as president and CEO of Consulting Done Right. Now, tell us a little bit, or how did those clash? What's going on with both of those big hats?
Well, really and truly, they do not clash. I've always been a go-getter. And so Consulting Done Right evolved out of me doing freelance writing, business formation, nonprofit formations, and so forth and so on. But during 2011, I joined in with the minister and we founded the Tuscaloosa Area Black Chamber of Commerce after the tornadoes that came through in 2011, because we found that our Black businesses did not have any contingency plans in place so that they could come back after such a disaster. And so what has evolved is my consulting arm is now one of the fueling points for the chamber services, where I consult with businesses. I've done it through the Small Business Development Center. I've worked with nonprofits and set up nonprofits, as well as helping them to do grant writing and fundraising and fund development, as well as strategic planning. So really and truly, they balance each other out.
Okay. And that's a good thing, because if we don't have balance in our life, we have a problem.
That is true.
So,
Work-life balance is important.
yes, but how did you end up? Because um, you're not from Tuscaloosa. So, how
Yeah.
did you end up on that journey, grant development? And you just told us about the Tuscaloosa Area Black Chamber, but how did you end up doing the grant development?
During college, I started as working with the Boys and Girls Club of Tuscaloosa County as a unit director. And that started me in the nonprofit world. So I worked in Tuscaloosa for a while, about after leaving the University of Alabama, as a unit director in Green Village as well as in Rosedale Court for the Tuscaloosa chapter of the Boys and Girls Club. But then I went on to Virginia and then to Mississippi under the Boys and Girls Club umbrella. I was brought back to Tuscaloosa when I got a job with Mercedes I stayed at Mercedes for 10 years. When I left Mercedes, I ran into Dr. Joseph Davis. I was doing a summer program for tutoring students in the Tuscaloosa area, and he was at the Board of Education. And so he said God directed him to me. So when he came to me, we went through and had conversations. I ended up working with him with his nonprofit. And from that, it just evolved. Now, I worked up until 2017 strictly with the TABCC after I left Mercedes. But my daughter, Dr. Anelia Chapman, was entering into her residency program with Cahaba Medical Care Foundation. And she told them about all the different things that I did. And I got invited for an interview that turned into a job offer. And henceforth, my grant writing career began. So I have been a grant writer now for Cahaba Medical Care for 10 years.
Okay. That's really good. But what has been the biggest challenge for you in your business and through Cahaba Medical Facility?
Well, the biggest challenge with everything is, like I said, balance. You have to find a balance between the two. Lucky for me, my job is one that I can do from anywhere. So therefore, I work hybridly. I come into the office for meetings and other things that we have to do, but otherwise I work from home. And so that allows me freedom to do the other things that I do without interfering with the job performance that I have to perform for Cahaba. So that balance is really what has allowed me to continue with the chamber, build my own business, and still provide the services that I provide to Cahaba. But I guess I would say the challenge itself, though, was more or less with my business now, it's being able to put the amount of time into my business to really make it grow. So therefore, I've kind of prioritized things so that Cahaba takes up the majority of my time. The chamber takes the next portion of my time. And then on the tail end, if I have to do any consulting or anything for members within the chamber, that falls last. So I had to learn how to prioritize.
Right. So, and I guess that's how you decided you were going to work through your challenge, because you had to put those coins first.
Always. That's the downside. Most Black entrepreneurs have to have, when they start out, they don't have all the funds in place.
Right.
We start out on a dream and we build from that dream. So with me, because of Cahaba and the work that I do and the impact that it has on all of Central Alabama, there was no way I was just ready to give it up completely. But I got asked to do so much outside work that I had to find a way to monetize it for me.
Right.
And so that's where we birthed Consulting Done Right from. That freelance work. The chamber, I was working for the chamber when I came to Cahaba, and I came to Cahaba with them understanding that I was not going to let the chamber fall.
Right.
But I would try to balance the two so that I could still do things for both organizations. And the way that it has worked out now is I have a day off from Cahaba that I strictly devote to the chamber.
Well, that's a good strategy. Speaking of which, what's one business strategy or habit that's made a big impact on your growth?
I guess the biggest habit, more or less, is building relationships. Now, I have to build relationships with all of these jobs, right? But the building the relation part when it comes with my business is a lot of the referrals that I get from my business is based on relationships that I built through other organizations.
Right.
And those relationships now are turning into sources of income for me. I've worked for the city of Centerville. I've worked for UAB. I've worked for other local nonprofits, and then I've worked for some local businesses that needed some things done for them. And because of those relationships that I built and established, I'm continuing to grow because I constantly get calls from referrals from people within the city of Tuscaloosa and others that refer people to me for my services.
Okay, that's good. So the business and leadership conference, let's go back to that. That's
Okay.
that's putting really the mission into action with
It is.
some of the entrepreneurs. So give us a breakdown of that event, what's involved in it, and how people can reach out to you to get information.
All right. The Business and Leadership Conference is one where we're looking to preserve relationships that we've had, connect people to other people, and give them resources that they can utilize once they leave the conference. I've always been a hands-on type person, so I like to give people that they could utilize something they could tangible that they could use. So we've been very strategic in setting up this lineup of people that are coming to the conference. We will be our MC for the evening will be Pastor Boughton Johnson. He's in cinematology, and he's a producer, and he's a minister, and right now he's serving as the president for the Birmingham Metro Black Chamber of Commerce. So he's going to be our MC. Jerry Mitchell, the president for the Alabama State Black Chamber of Commerce, is going to serve as one of our speakers for the opening session, where he will break down the state of Black businesses in Alabama. We will have an executive financial forum where we will have members from Chase Bank that will be talking with us about what it means to be ready for financing or for access to capital for businesses, what your business needs to know before you go to the bank. So we'll talk about that. We're setting up speed networking or mentoring rounds where it'll be a 7-minute round robin where people will go from different persons that will be there and ask questions based on the type of services that they provide. So we're looking at things like IT mediation services that businesses may be interested in, business formation information and organizing your business. And like I said, that's a 7-minute round robin. Then we will have our signature rhythm and blues brunch, where we are so excited to have Dr. Ona Love Brown as our keynote speaker. Dr. Brown is the daughter of Les Brown. She's part of the first family of motivation. She is a dynamic coach, speaker, motivator, brand ambassador. I mean, the woman has talent that is beyond what you can imagine. But in all of that, she's grounded, and she can provide some centering type messages, because we can all get overwhelmed with what we do.
Right, right.
She has a way of bringing things into perspective for you, and so we're ecstatic about having her. We also have Muriel Bonner. Muriel is an author and a consultant, and she will come in and she will do our woman-to-woman networking workshop, where we'll try to be, upfront and honest about what goes in the life of a woman entrepreneur. And so that's happening. And then we're going to close out the session with Michelle Coley of Allstate, who has an office in Tuscaloosa and Hoover. And we will have a conversation with her about what it takes to get where she is, how she's advanced and grown her business so that she has been able to expand from one location to another location now in Hoover. And so that sums up the conference. We'll have a few vendors, not very many, but we'll have some vendors that are there. And but the day is it's focused on providing services that our businesses can use. We will also have a information transfer, a technology information transformation zone that's going to be done by Kenny Robinson. And it'll be more or less a practical AI and computer tools that you can use for your business with some hands on type experimentation.
Okay. I That's a really good lineup, and I'm excited. Of course, I won't be around, but is this a yearly conference event that you host every year, or is this the first year?
This is the first year that we're actually having this caliber of a conference, but it is our plan to make it an annual event.
Okay. Before we get back to the conversation, here's a quick reminder. Gurll Mind Your Business is where we help women amplify their voice, own their message, and show up with confidence. Through real conversation, strategy, and powerful insights, we help you get clear, get visible, and build with purpose. If you're ready to stop shrinking, start speaking, and turn your voice into impact, you're in the right place. Gurll Mind Your Business, where we help you amplify your voice and mind your business. So, how has your mindset around success, money, and leadership shifted over the years? Because, and I know we've talked, but you sound really excited about this conference. So, just tell me, how has your mindset shifted?
Well, Cookie, over the years, I've learned quite a few things. You know, um, you got to find out truly what people need.
Right,
And then you have to build your services around those needs
right,
because you can't convince somebody to come to a meeting and go back with nothing, right? So your meetings have to have meaning. They have to have some content, some substance that once I leave, it's gonna cause me to think about what was said in the meeting and make me look at my business to see how I need to do things to get it in line so that I can grow. And so what we did at the beginning of 2026 was we had a speak up session with our members and our visitors that came to our meeting. And we asked them to tell us point blank what you need. And based on what they provided us in that meeting, we went back and revamped the whole year 26 around those strategies to address those needs. And so this conference is the culmination of all of this planning that we've done throughout the year.
okay. So basically, um, your whole mindset shifted to a higher level based
Yes,
on what you just said. Okay. And that's a good thing. That's always a good thing because wherever we are in life, our mind got there first. And we
that's right.
gotta be ready for whatever comes in our face at all times. Okay,
That's
so
correct.
if somebody's listening right now and it's just one thing that they get from this our conversation today, what do you hope it is?
Tuscaloosa Area Black Chamber of Commerce is here to serve our entrepreneurs in West Central Alabama. And what we need you in the room. Come into the room, find out what we're about, and decide for yourself whether or not we can provide you with the hands on type services that you need to make your business grow.
Okay. And my next question was gonna be, is there anything that you wanted, you know, to make sure that we cover today? But you pretty much hit everything. Now let's go back and talk about your grant writing. How say I come to you, I have a nonprofit and I come to you and I need some funding. Take me through the process, the step by step process. What do I need to do other than call you?
All right. Well, you got to be grant ready. And a lot of people don't realize that just having a nonprofit doesn't make you grant ready.
Mhm.
You got to make sure that all your documents are in order, that you're properly formed with the IRS, that you have your 501c3 status if you want to go through a public charity type grant application, which requires that you be a 501c3. But there are some that you could actually have a fiscal sponsorship for, but you need to find another nonprofit organization that can serve as a fiscal sponsor for you before you even start looking for a grant if you do not have your 501c3. You need to make sure your financials are in order. You know, if you're a nonprofit, you need to file your 990s. You need to either have a financial review or an audit, depending on how much money you bring into your nonprofit. But you also need a sound board of directors because your board is the um, fiduciary sponsors of the organization. And so when you enter in financial agreements with grantors, that whole board is liable for what goes on in that organization. And so you need to make sure that you have those items in place. And then once you do that, your mission statement, your vision statement must be clearly defined, and you must operate within the mission and vision of your organization. Not all grants are for all people. So you have to set up your organization so that when you're looking for grants, you look for grants that follow your mission and that you can answer their priorities based on what your mission performs. So if you're at that point where you feel like you're ready and you need some money, then at that point, yes, find you a grant writer that can work with you. Make sure that you follow all the ins and outs of what the notice of funding is going to ask for. Make sure that you can provide them on a timely basis all of the requirements and attachments that are required for whatever grant you are applying for, because most of them are going to ask you for financial documentation, board documentation, and either letters of support. So you need to build up your relationships. Get to know other agencies in the community, whether or not they do exactly the same thing you do or something similar, or all the organizations that you could, work with. Those the kind of people that can give you the letters of support or recommendation, or even partner with you on a grant. So if you got those things in order, then yes, I would say that you're some way grant ready. And then it starts with the conversation where you have to research for the grants and find the one that fits your organization best.
Yeah. And that's a lot of the problem I found out when working with somebody. They don't lack the idea or the passion. What they lack is access to the right information. And do you have some guide or something that you give out to potential clients so they'll know exactly what they need to do? Because a lot of people don't know. They don't have that step by step. And I found out that's what a lot of people need. Like you said, partner with another nonprofit or whatever. They don't know that. A lot of people want to be in business, but they don't know the right way to do it. So do you have some guide or something that you use or you give out to potential clients so they can get steered in the right direction? We at the point now, especially in this economic environment, we just gotta keep telling each other we've gotta support our black owned businesses no matter what. And it's funny to me. I often hear, oh, they charge too much. They're this, there. We already know we gotta pay more if we go to them. Number one,
Mhm.
we don't have the suppliers, we don't have the warehouses, we don't have a lot of things that everybody else have. So it's harder for us and it's natural. We gotta pay more. We gotta, but we gotta stay connected so we can position ourselves and others for that opportunity.
Right. And I agree with that. Business to business relationships among our chamber members and the Black businesses that we have in our community are very, very important. And so we promote that. So one of the things that we do is occasionally we have what we call TABCC connections, and we all meet up at a spot. So that's a Black owned, and we either have dinner, we have drinks, or whatever the case may be. And so that is one way of connecting. But what we promote within is whatever services you have, tell us in our meetings what's going on in your businesses, what you're looking for, and then we work to connect you with somebody that can provide services for you
Right.
or that you can sell products to. And
Right.
so that member to member connection is not something just we do in Tuscaloosa, but it is a statewide networking policy that we have within the Black Chamber system. And so we set up the Alabama Green Book, which is an online directory of Black businesses. Any business in this Black business in the state can register to become a member of the Green Book. You just have to have proof that you are a business,
Right.
either LLC documentation or a business license if you are sole proprietor. And then, so that's another way of introducing everybody to what's Black in our community.
Right.
And so we're looking to try to make those connections for everybody.
And we need to, the best thing, honestly, the best thing the listeners can do is join the Tuscaloosa Area Black Chamber Business and Leadership Conference, where you'll get more information, and I'm sure they'll see you there. And I really hate that I won't be there, but I will try and make it next year, because
Okay.
this is one thing that we need to continue. And no matter what goes on, we got to stick together, no matter what.
And we're looking to have a total of 60 new members for 2026. So membership is open. Our membership is $150 a year if you make less than $250,000. And if you make over $250,000, up to $1 million, it's $250.
Okay. Well, that's a good thing. And I'm sure you'll provide me the link so I can um, post it when this episode comes out. And I'm just glad you came today,
Well,
because,
thank you.
you know, we've been missing out on what we have going on. So this is my way of saying thank you, and I have really enjoyed this, and I really hope that you have the success that you're looking for in this conference and throughout the year.
Well, thank you. And if you don't mind, let me give a shout out to my sponsors for the conference. We have Huntington Bank, the Coley Agency, Ona Love Brown, Alabama State Black Chamber of Commerce, and Consultant Done Right, LLC, and also Buffalo Rock of Tuscaloosa.
Okay. And that's a great thing that you have the sponsors that you had. You know,
Yes.
even though your career evolved around grant development, nonprofit capacity, and helping bring other organizations together, we have got to make sure that this conference is everything that you want it to be. That's why we got to get the word out. We've got to help you help them. And for those that don't know, yes, Patricia and I are related by marriage, but she's like a sister to me. And I know that question because I told somebody that I was having Patricia Cade on my episode, and she said, I didn't know you had a sister named Patricia. She's not by blood, but by marriage, and that's okay. Whatever she has going on, I'm going to be involved, and I know the feeling is mutual. So, if anything that was said today you want to like, share, subscribe, and just get involved in the Tuscaloosa Black Chamber of Commerce. It does not matter where you're located, you can still be a part. There's always something for everybody, no matter where you're located. This event will be the event that you want to come to. Thank you, Patricia, for showing up and showing out.